and timely, relevant, the things that we're craving, especially during this time of fast moving changes. So I just want to thank you for being here. Um, I'm a little foggy. I think a lot of you have missed me, or at least noticed I haven't been here, but I'm back. And I
Yeah,
might be a little slow to get back in, but I'm here, and I'm just so honored to be here with one of my favorite guests and one of my teachers. So, Augie, please tell us about our friend Thomas.
yes, yes, I will. And yeah, you're right, Nori. It's been lonely here without you. I sure missed you. And
Thanks,
the
Augie.
good thing about you and me is that I can say something and then you put color to it. Or you can say something and I try to put color to it. Half the time it works, and the other half, oh well. Anyway, I want to introduce the guest here because he is someone that you want to lend him your ear because there is depth to what he's going to talk about. He reaches into the quantum for that information. And he has, for about 20 years or so, he have helped thousands of people through their healing process and helped them to grow into becoming better humans and people with higher conscious thinking. And is deeply involved in Chinese and Daoist medicine, and also is deeply immersed in the internal arts of Asia, like Qigong, Neigong, and we're going to hear a little bit about the difference of those two. I wasn't so much aware of Neigong, but I'm becoming a little more. It's going to be interesting. And he also does Tai Chi and Tai Chi Quan. So now he teaches classes on how to heal with Qi, that universal life energy. And he will explain about that because I know we all have heard the term, but do we really know what it is? Maybe not. And you will find him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever those shows end up going, you will find him there. So, welcome to the show, Thomas.
Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you both for the lovely introduction. Happy to be here.
It's always so good to have you here. Thomas, so it's been, I don't know, more than 7 months, I think, since last we spoke. And I'm just wondering how things have shifted for you and how your teachings have expanded to meet the ever growing demands. And yeah.
Yeah, it's been I mean, really since I was saying before, like since COVID, my life is like I think a lot of people has changed dramatically. And what has happened is really I've worked from more of a clinical setting where I was working with people, you know, close by that are coming to my office and working with me directly, which I still do today. But as we know what happened with COVID, like I was kind of almost pushed into doing things more distance. And I always worked with people from a distance, but it went, as I was saying, now it was like 90% of my clientele is long distance. So that just keeps continuing. And now offering more kind of group programs for people that has been just, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
No, the group is lovely. The group is lovely, and I speak from experience in that. And you're the thing that always comes to mind when I think of you is that we are the medicine. We are the medicine. Can you explain that? Can you roll that out for people? It's such a beautiful concept, but maybe a little nebulous for some.
Absolutely, yeah, and this is really something that has come to me in my understanding over the years of working with people and having my own healing journey is that, sometimes when we're hit with an illness or a situation in our lives that causes tremendous stress, that causes our body to have its own hiccup version, whether it's, heart disease or a cancer or autoimmune, there's an initial response that comes from, our hardware and our nervous system that survive, right? And so inevitably in that place, we start searching, right? There's the big search to try to find what's going to be the thing that's going to heal me. What's the thing that's going to take away the pain? What's going to get rid of this tumor? And that is a noble thing that we all need to walk through and understand. However, the deeper healing that I've been offering and that my understanding is when we can kind of ride through that initial wave of that, we step back into the intelligence that our body has already. And I say this in other talks, like I can speak to you now and my eyes blink and my mouth waters naturally without me having to have a thought about it. It's a natural intelligence that's here. And that intelligence is always trying to keep this system, our bodies, whole and healthy. And when we can see it that way, rather than my body is wrong, or my body is not working correctly, or my body is even broken, then you can see how that kind of creates an interference in the messaging and the communication. And so once we can start to process that and step back from that, letting all those go, we fall back and again back to the natural intelligence that's here. And that intelligence knows how to heal. Just the same way if I slipped and fell, I don't have to think about how my tissues are going to stitch together, how the good blood flow is going to get there. It knows how to do that. And so it also knows how to do that even on what can seem like very, very difficult scenarios, like something like cancer. The hard part is how do we access that? How do we unlock that ability that we all have that I call the medicine that we all have access to? And I hope we'll dive in more into that today.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'm thinking that when it comes to the mind and the body interaction, we've got to remember that the body itself is a self-correcting machine. If we give it what it needs to replenish itself, and if we treat it as we should by our mind, when we do those two things, there is nothing that can stop a healing from starting to emerge in you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is I think the problem that I face with people that come to me is most people, maybe they've heard that, but they don't believe that.
Yeah.
They don't believe that on a level that they can trust and know.
Here's the
So
key.
that, go ahead.
Right, the fear factor. I mean, when things are going great and you're doing tea ceremonies and working with your energy and doing your yoga, like that's all great. But then when you're hit with something really scary and maybe you take a ride on the medical, Ferris wheel, and then you've got the fear factor, and you kind of forget. You forget what really worked for you before because now you've got a new level of fear, and how do you how do you equalize, to try to come back to that point of believing and knowing and trusting, during crisis?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was actually just in my group today talking about that with someone that asked the same question. Like, I have so much fear that comes up. And especially when you go into, in some cases, the medical system, there's a lot of fear that gets infused into your field of energy. And what I always say is the fear, I had a teacher that used to say this all the time, is fear is false emotion appearing real. It's that, and again, that initial kind of survival mechanism of our mind that comes forward, of our ego, that's like, seeing all the negative possibilities, risks that could be available.
Yeah.
That's what it's pre-programmed to do, you know? And so that is just the natural response. So it takes somebody that has the ability to recognize that's all it is, right? It's like when we blend with that and we think that's who we are, we've already lost, right?
Yeah.
'Cause we think that's what we are. But when you recognize, oh, it's just a part of me that's pre-programming going forward, then you say, oh, that's just that, right? I don't have to choose to give my full attention to that. And
And
like
yeah,
Aage said, I can choose to come back to the truth that my body knows how to heal.
and I think also that when it comes to fear, fear can come from every everywhere at you. You see your neighbor. He died from cancer and he did the chemo, he did the radiation, they ate all the pills, and he ate carrots until he turned red, and he still died. So wow, I mean, I see everybody there losing it, and why shouldn't I look at that and say, God, they're dying and I have the same thing. I probably die too. Once you have that, you're halfway. You got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel, and there's not much you can do about it. But you got to ignore that. You got to recondition your mind to a certain level of believability that there are possibilities and I'm doing it.
Absolutely. That you said it beautifully. There's an undoing that you have to do because, like I think we all know, that fear is so strong. It is very potent and can make anybody sick. I mean, there's that classic story of, I'm sure most of you heard of it, of the two patients in the hospital. One has terminal cancer, the other has the flu, and they mix up, their labels. And the guy with the terminal cancer is told that he's just got, the common flu, goes home, feels better every day, gets better, and then the person that had the common flu is told that they have dying cancer, and he dies in a couple weeks. That's how powerful it can be.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
hospitals are dangerous places.
it,
Yes.
it, I would say to that, like I know my mother was a nurse. Uh, it's helped, of course, millions of people. But for me, in my experience, I didn't have that experience. I had it not helping me. I had, the medications that almost killed me. And thankfully, I had a pediatrician at an early age that just said, just get this kid off everything and go get him some sunshine, like
Mhm.
get him outside. And I got better, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that some people actually find that they are the medicine after the deep, dark frightening night of the soul. Does it take some people to get to that level of, hanging on by the skin of your nails, and then finally you're like, I've got nothing left to lose. Why don't I do some breathing? And I mean, what do you think people it is about that phenomena?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, you don't have to believe me. There's so many recorded. Years ago, I did a deep dive of, everything from near-death experiences, which you've probably covered here, and people that had complete reversal of terminal illness just from that realization. They just had that moment of truth where they said, you know what? Fuck it, like I don't know anymore. I'm tired of believing this thing that I've been believing, and they just let it go. And then all of a sudden something changes radically and they get better.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're right. Sometimes it does take that, last ditch, you know, worst night of your soul experience, um, to wake somebody up. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. And working with you is so, oh, it's so effortless. I mean, my time with you, and I was going through a lot of changes during that time, and I was amazed. I mean, besides working with my diet, working with my energy, doing the classes with you, they were the best ever. Um, I cannot believe how maybe not even a full hour phone call with you, you just have this ability to hone in exactly, on the core level of what it is that day. And it's like the light goes on for me, and I just can we bottle that, please? what
Yeah, I
what
mean, go ahead.
What is that? I mean, I know it's your years of, being a Chinese medicine practitioner, and I imagine, you're using your energy behind the scenes, but I would just love if people knew one half of how amazing that feels. I think they'd be banging your door down because it is so magical. It is so magical and it is so effective.
Thank you, Nori. Yeah,
Sure.
it's what I call, the heart energy. When you go through some of the experiences I've gone through in my life, and I sit at the bed of, thousands of clients and patients and hear their story, hear their pain, hear their struggle. Um, I think I've always been kind of like that kind of person, more of an empath, where I feel more than I think about a situation. Um, so I feel like I already had a kind of inclination in that way. And then honestly, through the years of doing that, and then my own cultivation practice, which I'm happy to talk about, how that opened up my heart center more and more. And as that opened up, it's truthfully, it's not me, it's my divine nature coming through me that does the healing, or does that I can feel or see you, or see the places you get stuck, or where you're causing interference, like Aage was saying, that blocks your ability for your body to just naturally do what it knows how to do. And then we just get right in there and we begin the process of teaching you how to release some of those, programs you've taken on. And we all have our own version of it. And that's the power of the heart center. It really, it's the most unconditional love that just shines onto somebody. And when that happens, at the end of the day, that's what we all want to feel. That's what we all are in essence. And so it's like coming back home. And yeah, so and healing happens very naturally in that place.
Yes, it
I can
does.
see there is. Go ahead, Nori.
No, Please, you go.
Okay. I can see there's two concepts here that is coming to the surface, and they are solid things to think about. And that is, first one is that whatever you allow to dwell in your mind the most is what you're going to have in your life. So if you keep thinking about all the diseases and all the hangnails and the heart attacks and everything that you have, you're going to have more of it. And the other one is that you will become like the people you associate with. So if you hang around people that are sick, good luck. You're going to have more sickness. When you start hanging around people like Thomas, take some of his classes and hang around people that is positive and healthy. You can't help it. Your vibration will be raised to towards their level of consciousness. So that's why I didn't know you before, but I tell you, I've been watching you on, videos and stuff, and man, I like what you're talking about. So that's why I recommend get with him because he will help you raise your vibration where healing can happen.
Thank you, Aage.
True.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
We are we are beings of resonance and we are vibration. I mean, this is now proven scientifically, right?
Yeah.
We used to think this hunk of matter was just this, thick thing, but now we know it's literally just vibrating. Our skin is vibrating at a certain frequency, and our bones are, all of it is, and it's affected by, the electromagnetic frequencies of like the sun, like, someone that's smiling at you, to someone that loves you, to someone that's angry or upset at you, right? All that is part of the soup that we're all a part of. And like Augie's saying, the more you can have an awareness of that, like an awareness of the habits, that your tendencies that take you into either negative frequencies or uplifting to positive frequencies. And that is huge. If you dial that in your life, say you're someone at home right now and you're listening to this and you have some kind of chronic illness, if you can understand this, then you'll start taking action in your life where you're starting to implement more of those high frequency energies into your life. And you can be a simple, I think of this story, maybe you're all familiar with this story of Norman Cousins. He was a famous person back, I think it was the 70s, and they did a movie about him. All he did, he had some kind of terminal autoimmune and his I think it was a degenerative spine disease. And back then they didn't know what the heck to do to him. And again, he went to the hospital and whatever they gave him, it just got worse and worse and worse. So he just said, screw this, I'm going home. And he did two things. First thing was he did high dose vitamin C. And the second thing, probably the more importantly, was he listened and watched comedy for 3 to 4 hours every day that made him laugh. He just kept laughing and laughing and laughing, just raising his frequency up. I think that's brilliant.
That's so
Just
good.
if you did that.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah.
Now
Well, it was, go ahead.
we've been talking about the challenges here, but let's hear a little bit about the solutions more deeply. Also, you are working with the Eastern arts,
Yes.
Qigong. What do you, if somebody come to you with a really, really severe problem, what is the first thing you do to help them out?
Great question. So the first thing, depending if they're coming into one of my groups or hiring me personally one-on-one, the first thing is we just do an assessment. And so that is more of a like physical diagnosis that I use through my years of Chinese medicine. So I look at your tongue, I look at your face, um, and have you do certain things, and that all gives me data along with my energetic assessment of what's happening. And I kind of put those two together, and then I give you a whole complete kind of package. A lot of people refer to it as like your individual operating manual. Like we all got these bodies, but we didn't get the manual how to use them. Like we hear these things like the FDA says everyone should, back in the what was it, the 50s and 60s, the doctors recommend smoking cigarettes, and
Mhm.
okay, so people, and then we find out, oh, smoking's bad for you, or maybe it's
Yeah.
wine or coffee, all these generalities. But in this way, we target specifically, uniquely for you. And because your system is so unique, it's different from, say, your spouse or kids or your neighbor. You have a very unique system. And so one of the beautiful things is we honor that and we find where are the tendencies, or as the Chinese would say, the patterns of disharmony lay that produce these outcomes of sickness, like autoimmune or cancer, right? So we find what those patterns are. It's kind of like a track of finding what those are. And once we identify them, the road or the pathway to healing is a lot clearer, a lot more obvious. So, like I was working with a woman yesterday who's you know, got severe osteoporosis, has a history of cancer, incredible amounts of pain in their spine, degeneration in their spine, spinal stenosis. And they've been told all these things that we all have been told about what's healthy, and, she needs to eat these foods, these things. Well, through this assessment, it was like, those things have been harming you for a long time. You actually need this instead. You need to be eating these foods for you and your body type. And you need to be doing this type of exercise, not the exercise that your doctor told you, but this specific exercise, because this is what's going to help your blood and your chi build those bones back up. And so that's kind of the first step. And then from there, there's, as Nori was mentioning, you know, obviously, once you start a new journey, when you start a new habit, all kinds of, resistance and interference can pop up to that. And then that's where I help coach people through that experience.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat room. What is the difference between fear and anxiety?
Yeah, that's a great question. So uh, I'll say what the ancient Chinese would say. So they say fear lives behind you. You can't see it. It lives in your lower back. Specifically, they say in your kidneys, because it's a thing you can't see. It's a thing you can't touch, and it's not tangible. Um, and it manifests in that way. It's that unknown, right? It's that, oh, this scenario could happen, that and that. Whereas anxiety is actually something that you do see. It comes more from the chest and the solar plex area. It lives there, and it pushes upward. And oftentimes anxiety is like this unrooted energy that when we get overly tired or deficient, it's like, I say, it's like that anchor, that boat that doesn't have an anchor in the bay, and it's just drifting. And so that's what happens. The energy just flushes up and creates all this unrooted energy, and that's how anxiety manifests.
Yeah. Yeah, I see we're down at the bottom of the hour here. And for those of you that joined us late, we are talking with Thomas Garbarino, and we are talking about the principles of healing, what makes it work. And we're going to talk more about the Eastern arts, Chinese medicine, Tai Chi, and other things that would be very helpful, but it is rarely seen in the West. But it is extremely effective, and they're using it in the East. So, yeah. What about Qi? We heard the term. What is that thing?
Yes, this is a very interesting study because um, when you when you go into it like I did, you study the medicine of it and you do some of the cultivation practices, they use that word a lot synonymously all through it. Chi this, chi that, good chi, bad chi, this chi. Um, there's what I would say from my understanding, Augie, is there is a relative difference of layers of energy, and they generally call that chi, right? So, we talked about earlier, like this intelligence that the body has, like that, my heart just beating is a form of this chi that is causing the heart to move in this certain frequency and rhythm, right? Same way with how our digestive tract moves. Yes, it is enzymes and chemical reactions, but before that, the ancient Chinese would say that it's the ability of the qi in each and every cell that allows it to perform, its whether it's detox out of the cell or processing the nutrients that the cell's getting from the food it's eating. And then it can go even, this is just kind of medical, but then it can expand much further beyond that. That when we go into the deeper layers of our spiritual nature, where there's higher degrees or frequencies of this chi that access into, maybe we could call the unseen world, the planes of which we have access to our ancestors, where our mom and dad can communicate with us, or angels, or different experiences and phenomena. And all seen under the umbrella of this word chi. But the thing that really makes a difference is the person's uh, where they are, meaning like who they are, where they are in that. Like for most people, it might just be the basic rudimentary physical aspects of that chi. I rub my hands together and I feel this vibration in my hands. But as your development and understanding and relationship to that chi builds, so does your access to those, let's say, higher frequencies of that energy.
Mhm. Now, chi is something that also can be accumulated in the body or maybe in the hands or something. I saw a video that this was real. There was a he was a master of one of the martial arts, and he said that he could hold his hands like this and he accumulate chi between his hands, and then they put a crumbled up little newspaper on the ground, and he took his hand and he held it over the newspaper, and the newspaper caught fire
Yes,
just from the energy. And he also
yes,
said, this is the accumulation of a life force energy that is directed by the mind. I can turn that, I can give it to a person in form of a very effective healing energy.
yes.
I will love your comment on this one.
Yeah, so I'll try to do my best. So really, that's a high form of alchemy, a high form of Neigong that you're referring to, pyrokinesis, and some of these other what would be considered supernatural, or in the yogic tradition, they'd say cities. Um, from my understanding and my own development, what's really happening there is we have really two forms of this chi that are present that we can work with in our body. One is the yang chi that is more electric in nature, that is closer kind of to like an electricity charge. The sun energy is more kind of like that yang qi. And then we have the opposite polarity, which is yin qi. And yin qi is more magnetic, and it creates order and form. And so when a master like that, what he's able to do is take the ability of the yin qi in his body along with the yang qi in his body, and like you said, consolidate it, condense it into a form of energy that merges. Then that energy becomes very, very potent, and then that energy can be utilized to, yeah, burn a newspaper, or to help somebody with a bone fracture, to like some of my teachers would do some of the wildest things with that energy. What you could do, you could cause flowers to bloom faster. You could cause all kinds of what we consider, supernatural in nature. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I am by no means more than a little bit more than a beginner. But last night, after having the flu for 5 days, I became frightened of the night because I was having these electric night sweats that
Mm.
were just torrential. And I thought, I'm gonna be a warrior. I set my bed up with layers of towels, and I'm thinking of you, and I'm thinking of Wim Hof. And when I'm freezing, I'm firing up the furnace, and I'm
Mm.
breathing, and I'm moving it. And then when I got hot, I just turned the furnace down, and it was 70% better. 70% better. So I
Wow.
don't know what I did, but I did something.
Well, the thing you did was you believed in yourself and your ability to do that. That can be more than half of it right there.
And yeah, it was
I mean,
amazing.
there's so many stories of people healing themselves. They didn't know any methodology. They just had this strong belief that they could do it. And sometimes just that alone is enough of a catalyst to get that change going.
Yay.
Yeah,
Thank
it's a
you.
good work.
Thank you.
if if that belief is strong enough in your mind, it works because it goes all the way back to the fact that we are living in a mind created universe. We
Mm.
create through our mind, we create our universe we are living in. And that that sweating or that thing that you had there, Nori, you your mind took care of the problem.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
It's really, really remarkable. I have um a new level of understanding, not that I could articulate it, but I have a new level of
Mhm.
I guess
Yeah.
belief. I guess belief. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
you are
Thomas, with
doing
go ahead, Og. Sorry.
oh, uh, you are doing Qigong also. And I have some friends that really are, they're good at it and they swear by it. I don't know about the swearing part, but they really like it. Could you talk a little bit about Qigong? Because this is so simple. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody can do this.
Yes. Yes, that's, I love how you said that, because everyone has this ability within them. And it's just taking a few simple principles and applying them, using your body as the instrument that it is to begin to harmonize these yin and yang energies in the body. And all it takes is just a consistent practice of a particular type of movement, that you can start to begin to consolidate this energy and start to work with it. Because for most people, their energy is so dispersed, especially nowadays. I just was on a plane the other day, and I was just at the airport, and wow, everyone's energy is just so dispersed out, you know? But all it takes is just a, like Agdi's saying, like your mind is here. The more it is present here inside with a relaxed breath and a certain posture, when those three things come together, that is where Qigong really starts to work on your system. And so it doesn't matter what the technique, if it's this style of Qigong or that style, some are more healing in nature, some are more martial in nature, but overall, they carry these three main principles. And when you, again, bring them together, it activates this latent chi in our system in a way that starts to help. It could be as simple as like your back pain goes away or your aches and pains go away to, you always feel tired and fatigued. Now all of a sudden you have a little bit of energy to opening, like I said at the beginning, your heart center. So you start to feel that joyful, blissful moment, and your energy just, whoa, this is all possible by just doing this, guys. That just by applying this over and over in a very, very simple way, you can change your life, change your health in quite profound ways.
Yeah.
And how many of us were walking around not really in our body? Yeah, I remember the day we had class, and I think we were in Mabu, and we were there so long that I actually could feel the fascia releasing. I can't remember how we had our arms, but I felt it releasing, and it was a little shocking at first, and then it was like heaven. It was just amazing, and it never went back. It never went
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Good stuff. What do
Yeah.
people need? What what do we need to do to begin? Like, is there when you get up in the morning, you got to prepare yourself for the day, right? Anybody personally who just goes out into the world unprepared, I think is a little risky right now, right? Your
Mhm.
energy integrity.
Mhm.
What do you recommend?
Um, I like how you started to begin that, because I think the best thing you can do is start your day with this kind of awareness and consciousness, before you jump out of bed and, start making your bagel in the morning or grab your phone and look who messaged you. Before all that, the world comes into take your awareness, your attention, and just bring it back here with just noticing your breath, just breathing in very calm, collective, let it go all the way through your body, like breathe like a child. Lao Tzu says that in the Tao Te Ching, so your belly fills up and then exhale. When you can do that, you start to bring again your awareness inside, not outside there. There's plenty of distractions pulling you out there, but this is a way to bring it back in. And when you do that, then you reach your power center. You become more powerful because you're now activating your center of energy rather than CNN center of energy or US government center of energy or right, McDonald's center of energy. They all want your energy, guys. That's the thing. But when you bring it back home to you, you become the master. You become the owner of the captain of your ship, and then you're less likely to fall victim to all that nefarious stuff out there. And then you live your life purpose. If you start your day like that, just start 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you'll see how much of an impact that'll give you throughout your day.
True.
Yeah.
True. Mm, it feels good.
I want to dwell just a little bit more on Qi and Qigong
Please, please.
because I think many of us have seen the video that was created in the medicineless hospital in Peking back then. I think it is Beijing now in China, where they were in a hospital room. I think there were four Qigong masters standing there, and there was a lady in the bed. She had, I believe it was
The bladder
kidney,
cancer.
bladder
Yes.
cancer. That was it. And the split screen on the TV showed a picture of the tumor, and the
Yeah.
other side of the screen showed the present day up to date picture. And they started chanting, directing energy to her. And you could see that tumor from a small fist disappearing down to nothing in a matter of 3 minutes. That is the power of Qi and Qigong. And we don't have to be able to do all that. But even if we do it at a smaller level,
Mhm.
it works at that level too.
Yeah, that's
It's,
such a powerful example of that, right? It's such I encourage people to YouTube it or to watch that video because a picture or a movie like that is
yeah,
so powerful. And it was for me when I saw that too. Um, Again, it comes back to the principle that we are energy. We are frequencies of energy. And when we are sick, like this woman was with the bladder cancer, some frequency of her energy had gotten, you know, put into some disarray, disorganization, incoherence, right? And so these four masters, what do? They connect in, like I'm saying, they find their power center. They feel the root coming through from the earth, moving through their body, that yin qi. They feel the yang qi come in. And then they do a specific chant because those chants have that vibration. It's a message they carry. Not just the ancient Chinese knew this, the Egyptians knew this, the Persians
yeah,
knew this, right? Ancient India knew this too. The power of the spoken word, right? The power. When you do it in a way with this type of awareness, wow, that is high frequency medicine. And they just channeled that right into that woman's bladder. And like I was saying, you see that tumor just start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Unbelievable. And I've seen this many, many different versions of this. I've seen, from the more gross where, we used to take spears to our throats, and break the spear, to breaking rocks, to high level master I was with once where they could literally start to move the clouds and bring rainbows and all kinds of manipulating the weather, just unbelievable. This is what's possible when you begin it always, they say the journey starts with just taking one step. And that one step is like what I was saying to you all is begin by recognizing your attention is so powerful. It's more than enough. But the problem is your attention's been grabbed by 10,000 different things out there.
yeah, it's
And
been
so we have
hijacked.
to, yeah, it's been hijacked. And so we have to return that attention back inward. And when you can do that in a consistent way, it starts to build, it starts to grow, it starts to get stronger. And then you do it with these specific, postures that I'm talking about. Like Nori mentioned the ma bu, you hold your arms out, so that fascia lines that were constricted now can open up and move and allow that chi to conduct through the body more efficiently. When you have that happen, wow, then you just really start building this chi in a way that you can use for healing, you can use for growing better food in your garden, to just giving somebody a hug and loving them more. This is how it can be utilized.
So beautiful. So
Hmm.
beautiful.
That's great.
Tell us, tell us what's available. Do you have your group, you have your personal sessions, anything else new?
Yeah, so I think there's kind of like three different ways you can, if you're like what you're hearing and you want to, do more, find out what I do. You can always go to thomasgarbarino.com, and you can book a call with me, and I do that for free with people where they can just get a quick, 20-minute, half-hour conversation, what would be the best for them. I have everything from a Qigong group that I run, that Nori was a part of, and and then I have a more advanced group that works more on this opening up the heart center, and we call that Be Love Heal. And we have an intimate group that's doing really incredible healing in there. And then of course you can always work with me one-on-one with my coaching programs, and you can get, like I was saying to Agdi, like that initial assessment about where you are in your health, and here's a clear understanding of how we can start the healing journey from there.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. And the
Oh,
importance,
can I say one more thing?
yeah, of
I
course,
also have a free group that people can join. It's called You Are the Medicine. It's a school group, and maybe we'll put in the links below. But the You
definitely.
Are the Medicine. So if you don't want to pay for my service, that's fine. I offer a free group where I do a live broadcast every week on.
Can they access that through your website?
Yes, they can, and they can also, uh, if they just go to, I think it's www.school.com/medicine. That's how you can go there directly.
Okay.
That's nice.
Right.
That's a nice way to ease in.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
I
we
reckon
pr-
I recommend taking the high dive, going right in one-on-one with Thomas. I recommend that highly. But yeah, if you want to put your toe in the pond, that's a good one.
yeah. We promised to talk about one more thing, and that is, gosh, we have about 6 minutes left. What do you see the future of medicine will be like? I think it is starting now. There's a hospital in Tucson where they allow them to come in and do Reiki. Is
Mm.
this? Do you see this expanding to the point where we can actually start doing what you're doing in institutions of healing? I would hope I should call hospitals at that time.
I love this question, Agdi. I think it's a really valuable one. Um, I've been doing this 20 years, maybe a little bit more. And just in that time, I've seen tremendous change. When I first started, I was just an acupuncturist, Chinese herbalist, and people thought I was some back alley show, like, what, you stick needles in people? And, you know, to now it's, you're seeing professional athletes and professional teams utilizing this medicine. And I think that's a good springboard for where I think it's headed, I'll say, is having more this understanding of this mind body relationship, where we are utilizing energetic medicine more, understanding frequencies of energy, not just within our body, but Agdi and I had a conversation about there's these other technologies available out there that know how to transmit frequencies that can affect the body very quickly. And I see that happening more and more. Um, but I believe we as a human family are we're kind of going in two different directions, you know, like some of us are continuing to go into staying in that third density layer, you know, keeping to the I don't know if it's um I'm trying to remember what it was, but the idea that the mind is separate from the body, right? That things are random in the universe, and to people now moving into the fourth dimension or fourth density of our heart center and understanding that, you know, whatever action I take has not just an impact on that specific thing, but the whole of the system. And I think more and more people are opening up to that, and more their heart center as a human family is opening up more. And as we do that, we will be more sensitive, we will be more attuned to this understanding that we are vibration, that we are frequency, and we will then seek out more of these modalities and helping each other, whether if it's Reiki or Qigong or chanting, or, you know, whatever that is that, you know, is going to help people collectively come together and see that they are the medicine in there.
Yeah, I have great expectations from Kennedy and make America healthy again.
I love that too. Yeah,
I,
I've known him for a long time, and you know, one thing I'll say about him is he is very
yeah,
committed to changing. I knew him back when he was just an environmental lawyer, and he was very committed to cleaning up the rivers and restoring the health of the ecosystems. And he's, I think, even more committed to restoring the health of, you know, the whole human
yeah,
population, especially here in the United States where we have been sick for far too long. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, too long.
yeah.
It's so hopeful. Oh, Thomas, thank you for being here with us. My heart has been made well for being with you.
Oh, great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
this
Thank
was
you.
so good. And I'm going to watch this show again because it lifted me up, and I like to do that again.
Mm,
Me
thank you so
too.
much.
Me too.
Yeah,
Thank you all for this opportunity, and appreciate you all for doing what you do.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Augie, do you want to ask your famous question? We have 2 minutes.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. If you could talk to the whole world, Thomas, and the world was listening, what would you tell them?
Mm. I would say that the need that they're trying to find out there is even more well met right there in their heart. That the love they're looking for out there will get met even more right here in their heart.
Hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
there's nothing out there that we cannot have in here.
You said it better than me.
Oh,
thank you.
that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
thank you
Well,
all so much.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody, for being here. It's nice to be back and see you guys in the chat room. We'll be back next Thursday. Don't forget, Augie has the paranormal hour, the paranormal show on Sunday night, and it's not just paranormal. It's a lot of really interesting content and information.
yeah,
So check that out too.
yeah.
So without any
And
further ado,
And also, if you like what you heard, please subscribe. That will help us a lot on the algorithms.
Yeah.